The USDA guidelines have always been flawed, and I believe is a big reason why we are so obese and overweight as a society. I can't believe this, but for the 2025, they're proposing that we replace meat with beans, peas, and lentils. Like, this was so triggering for me because the science shows that this is not the direction we should be going. So for the last few weeks, I've really been investigating. I've been doing a lot of research on this topic, and I want to read it to you. I want to dive into this conversation because we need to stand up for our health, and eating more beans, peas, and lentils instead of meat is not the answer. This report, not just promoting the beans, peas, and lentils, but actually reordering the recommendations of protein sources. Their recommendation is to include beans, peas, and lentils first, followed by nuts, seeds, and soy products. And then after that, the committee suggests mentioning seafood, meat, poultry, and egg. It is completely upside down again. If you guys want to see this entire article, I'm going to link it in the description so you can read it for yourself. First, I want to start with the science behind why beans, peas, and lentils should not be a substitute for animal protein. Let's take a 4-ounce chicken breast. That 4-ounce chicken breast has about 30 grams of really high quality protein, about 165 calories, and no carbs. To get the same 30 grams of protein that you would get from this 4 ounces of chicken breast, you'd have to consume 3 cups of beans. I mean, think about 3 cups of beans. That's 660 calories and 120 grams of carbs, which is more carbs than a lot of people need to consume in a day. Beans are also not a complete protein. They're an incomplete protein, meaning that they don't contain all of the essential amino acids that your body needs to make and maintain muscle. The body can't also absorb all the protein as efficiently as it can from meat. So actually, you would have to consume more than 3 cups of beans to get the equivalent of protein found in just 4 ounces of chicken. Beans, you guys, peas, and lentils, nuts, seeds, and soy are not a nutritional replacement for meat. Now, what I want to do is I want to look at the USDA's Dietary Guideline Advisory Committee. One of its members is Christopher Gardner, and he has received funding from Beyond Meat, which is the plant-based meat company. He also is the one pushing beans as a protein replacement. In addition, Christopher Gardner was the one who really promoted and did the twin study that was pushed on Netflix that was super biased, trying to prove that plant-based diet is healthier than an omnivore diet. They cherry-picked the data. It was so completely biased. If you want to learn more about that, I did an entire episode with Dr. Doug where we debunked that twin study. So it's really difficult because with funding like this, it's really hard to believe that these guidelines are unbiased. And there have been continuous concerns of conflict of interest with the Dietary Guideline Advisory Committee. And these concerns have been raised over like the last 30 years. You know, it's interesting. In 2020, there was a study published in Public Health Nutrition, and it found that 95% of the 2020 Dietary Guideline Advisory Committee members had conflicts of interest with food or pharmaceutical industries. So they had ties and had research funding and consultant roles and other financial relationships. Totally 95%. Can you believe that? I mean, my mind was blown when I read this. In 2025, there was a report by the US Right to Know, and it revealed that nearly half of the committee members still have conflicts of interest with food, pharmaceuticals, and weight loss companies. I really think that this raises huge concerns about the potential influence of industry on our dietary guidelines. And I think this replacement of beans, meats, nuts, soy products above actual meat products is continuing this. You guys, when it comes to our food and pharmaceuticals, you really have to follow the money. When we do this, we can see that there's no way around it. If there are special interest funding, like in this example, you know that they are making money from us. So they are promoting and recommending not what has our best interest at heart, but what has their wallet at heart. And I just really want you guys to take that seriously and consider that when you are choosing what to eat. These conflicts of interest have led to skepticism about the objectivity of the Dietary Guideline Advisory Committee recommendations. For example, The promotion of plant-based proteins like beans over animal proteins have been a topic of debate, and critics argue that industry ties likely influence such recommendations, potentially prioritizing corporate interest over public health. If you are interested in following a meal plan and a dietary approach that actually has your best interest at heart, that's based on true research and true science that is not biased, I want you to click the link in the description and learn more about PhD weight loss. I spent years, my doctoral research, becoming a registered dietitian, and honestly doing the exact opposite of what we were told to create this dietary approach that truly supports healthy metabolism, a healthy body, one where your metabolism can work the way that is supposed to, that nature intended. If you're interested in that, click the link in the description and I'll give you some more information to learn more. The approach that we take at PhD Weight Loss is one that is not complicated, actually. It brings us to our roots of how we're supposed to eat, like how we ate way back when, before the obesity epidemic just came about. I really did a lot of research looking at what we consumed when we were healthy, when we were fit, when our populations were strong. And so really it's just taking us back to our roots. It's simple and it's pretty darn easy to follow. And the results are amazing without any kind of supplementation or medication needed. You actually get off of medication instead of getting on more medication. The recurring concerns about conflicts of interest have prompted calls for greater transparency in the selection of the Dietary Guideline Advisory Committee members. And we need the disclosure of their financial ties. Advocates suggest that implementing stricter guidelines are needed to ensure that the dietary recommendations are based solely on unbiased scientific evidence free from industry influence. The USDA's guidelines should be based on objective science. That's what's logical, that's what's smart. There should be no conflict of interest. Beans can be okay for some fiber, for some people who might tolerate them, maybe for some nutrients, but they are not a substitute for meat at all. You want to stick with your nutrient-dense, complete protein, your high-quality animal protein. Don't fall for the agenda. If you want to learn more, if you need support with a well-rounded approach, if you want to go back to the roots and support a more fast and efficient metabolism, check out PhD Weight Loss. The link is in the description.